Fantasmagorium show is proud to present Set to Stun, a Star Trek show that is an irregular one. My name is Scotty R37, and Antiderivative
Hello.
is here as well. And I'm just super jazzed. And
You are.
as this show is an irregular one, I want to break from tradition.
What's tradition?
Well, we usually have slides.
Are you gonna break your little toy ship?
I'm gonna break my little toy ships. But today was sort of a weird turning point for me in terms of the Star Trek Picards. Lemon, it's good to see you, Lemon, and Skogly. Thank you for being here.
That's
Huzzah,
funny because
cheers.
last week was my turning point. From disliking the show to hating it.
But we did that at the same time. Like last week when we were watching Star Trek Picard, I did not like it. I was going to quit. Like this was not a show that was going to happen.
Right.
Right?
Right, because we finished that episode and you said that was Kurtzman Trek.
I was like, fuck it, we're done. Sorry, that was within the first 2 minutes. We just got demonetized. And
were you even monetized?
Well, no, we've had monetization in the past. How dare you?
My mistake.
But this week, hey, you know what? It's weird because you should all subscribe to Antiderivative You're at 473 followers. No, 373. Either 473 or 373. But
I'm
either
in the
way,
300s.
You're getting to a round number. And if this is your first time at the Fantasmagorium show, please know that it won't be the last time you hear the name Antiderivative Jill, because she's an amazing person. And you should subscribe to her network.
Please do. We have a lot of fun talking about good stuff over there.
We do. Edge of Time is here. What do we talk about?
Star Trek and other science fiction. I started the channel to promote the Orville because I was hoping that I could somehow lend a little voice to getting the 4th season going. I was so in love with seasons 1 and 2.
I still have to see season 3.
You do. It's not as good as 1 and 2, but it's leaps and bounds over this cred.
You know what the problem is? No physical media release for the season.
Is there no physical media release for season 3?
Not that I'm aware of. Captain Infinity is here. There is no physical release of Captain Infinity either.
Well, okay. I heard there was going to be release on April Fool's Day, but I turned out to be the fool there.
Yeah, well, aren't you Spartacus?
I know. That's
Speaking of Spartacus, what are we doing on Good Friday, Jill, over on the Antiderivative Jill channel?
Well, it's a regular Friday because it's Good Friday. And so I think it'll be a late show. It might even be 1 or 2 p.m. Central because I've got some family things to do.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk
about in the morning.
I got to take the kids to see the Mario movie. So
weird.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't sound like it's celebrating Jesus at all.
What was that? What we were supposed to do?
Yeah, Good Friday is because the Lord died for our sins in Christianity and such.
True.
It's weird though. Good Friday is also a good time to go and check out the local delicatessens and pick up Jewish ladies, because they don't really give a good goddamn about Jesus.
Sounds good.
Well, let's not go crazy. So, what happened last week on Star Trek, Jill?
Better than a bar.
Well, bars are closed because of the Lord.
Ugh. Do I freaking even remember what happened last week?
Sure you
do. It was a terrible episode where Vadic explains how the Federation and Starfleet and everybody is no different from Section 31 and everyone is evil and they experimented on changelings and
they did, yeah.
Black tribbles and keep corpses of Starfleet officers in their secret clandestine facilities that are named after a university, but it's like a black site. What the fuck?
Yeah. Like last week, it was a huge oil stain on your driveway. Like, I don't think that last week was good. And I do think that it became a mustache twirling villain in Vadic.
Yes, I kept waiting for her to develop in some way, and once she told her backstory, which was supposed to develop her, I feel nothing from her. The episode is called Dominion, but we don't even talk about the founders or Voria or the Jem'Hadar. It's just a name for the episode. Without them, you're just talking about what happened, the memory of the Dominion War, rather than the Dominion being around in
Well, and
reality.
I don't think we have anything further in regards to, is the Federation being taken over by those 8 changelings? Is it just
8?
them?
A million?
Well,
It
no,
seems
remember,
like
but so
it seems
last
like
week
all of
we
Starfleet
saw.
was infiltrated.
I know, I'm trying to piece it together and I'm asking for your help. So please, if you could just subdue the histrionics.
Am I
Your
being hysterical?
alacrity is overwhelming.
I kind of hate this show now. I don't mean to be rude.
Well, but we still have to cover last week before we get to this week.
Right.
So I understand. Last week,
they're villains. We're villains.
but they're not. The Federation are not villains.
In this show, they are.
Well, that's a very, and I think it's an interesting position to take because you are very similar to myself in that we both prefer our Federation and our Starfleet to be pure.
Well, it doesn't have to be pure. I realize that there's going to be infiltrations. I realize that there are going to be bad officers, and bad things happen all the time in the bureaucracy of the Federation, in the military of the Starfleet. Things happen all the time, but there is a basis of that. The majority of the people working for them are trying to do the right thing, even if sometimes they get it wrong every once in a while.
I apologize for this. Boom, 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 boom. It's just a little warm in here, and I have to take off my tunic. But do you think?
Yeah. Okay.
Scopely brings up an interesting point in the chat.
That's what I was reading.
Well, you can click on them.
But they specifically make Starfleet the villain because they turn all of Starfleet into Section 31 villains who operated on changelings, who went from just creating the virus to committing straight war crimes. And
well, making the virus was a straight war crime.
Yes, it was. And I do agree that the Federation should have had some kind of trial after the war and all that. Of course, that wouldn't have made sense right after the celebration, Deep Space Nine, and all of that.
Yeah, but in terms of
this makes it worse. Kidnapping the changelings.
Okay, so
experimenting on them. That makes them villain.
Oh no, there's something scary outside. You have to check on that.
Well, I know I don't know if you could hear.
Will you please go find out?
It's thundering outside, and I have to. I'll be right back.
Yeah, tell them it's Klingons bowling, because everybody knows that thunder is just Klingons bowling in Stovokor. Anyway, it's such a pleasure to see you, Scogli. Thank you so much, and I do agree. I think that this is a very targeted attack against Picard and Jack Crusher. And there is pardon me, there is a group, a faction, a cabal of changelings who have focused on isolating Jean-Luc and Jack. And that's what I think is happening now. I don't think it's the entirety of Starfleet that is taken over. I don't think that we're on a specific overall conspiracy. I think that this is an isolated operation. Maybe that makes me naive. To Kurtzman.
That would be great if someone would just show me that actually occurring, and they had a chance right here. They brought back Tim Russ, who's absolutely amazing. He's the best part of this stupid episode.
Yes.
He can still play Tuvok. When I hear him talk, despite what the words that he's saying, I can tell that he would perform as Tuvok splendidly. They had a chance right here to give them some allies outside of the Titan crew to show that not all of Starfleet has been infiltrated by changelings, and they twisted
Jill,
just for their drama.
Jill.
Yeah.
Captain Infinity says
we have a week. We do.
We got a weak chat game. Okay. Anyway, Edge of Time says,
as we
lemon pig oink oink hullabaloo. And Captain Infinity says, I feel like I'm eavesdropping on a private conversation. No, you've been invited to participate in our conversation. We were going to do this anyway. So, Scogli says Starfleet is not the problem. And Captain Infinity says, oh, hey, Scogli, how you doing? Lemon pie? You good? Captain Infinity says, what my revelation of the true meaning of Easter just gets ignored? Yes. Scogli says, I'm hanging in there, man, which is dope. Scogli, I think that you and I are more akin when it comes to our opinion of Star Trek. We love it, but we are aware that it is, you know.
You can have this. Okay. I'm sorry.
There is a mute button. You can anyway. Brings us back to resentful lurk mode. I've had better service on the Tony show. Well, you know what? You should get a channel yourself, Captain Infinity. Daniel's Hot Topic says, damn you! You killed Data! Or you killed Lore. No, they didn't kill Lore. They did not kill Lore. I enjoyed the way that Lore has become incorporated. I liked it. Scogli says, Jill, would you like to saddle this one?
Yes, changelings have always been the problem. Starfleet made a mistake. Not Starfleet. That's the lie that this episode keeps saying, not Starfleet. Section 31 made a mistake and then went too far when they created the virus. And when Starfleet officers figured it out, Chief O'Brien and Bashir figured that this occurred. They were absolutely incensed by it. And they decided to capture Sloan, infiltrate his brain, and expose Section 31. So this shouldn't even be a thing.
You know what? It would have been so much better if they had shown Luther Sloan as being the body kept at Daystrom. Would you have forgiven that one?
That's interesting because he was part of Section 31, so that he was already probably estranged from his family. I think that was actually part of the episode too, wasn't it?
Oh no, there is no Section 31 without Luther Sloan. I thought that was part of the fucking deal. I thought that Julian and Miles took care of Section 31.
Well, they did. I thought so too. And so yes, I do realize that Starfleet was a little bit complicit in the whole thing because they didn't create the virus, but they were like, oh well, now that it's here, we're not going to allow them to give you the cure for Data. So that was the part where they were gray.
Well, they
were wrong.
Right, but this is also part. Okay, so Section 31, you and I agree. Section 31 is a bad idea.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to see a Section 31 show ever.
It's happening anyway. Hopefully
no, it's not. No, because they were going to do it with that Oscar-winning lady, and she's got an Oscar now, so no one cares. Especially not the lady with the Oscar.
Michelle Yeoh?
Yes.
I hope she doesn't. Yeah, I hope so. I hope you're right.
Well, I would think that she has better things to do now. Like, don't call it a comeback. Michelle Yeoh has been here for years. But now that she is an Oscar winning, I don't think that she's going to have to be on a Star Trek show anymore. And if she does, I will watch it to understand Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah,
That'll be my question.
But you know what?
I would like to
Tuvok
say
wasn't
hello to Positive Candor is here. Matt G is here. You owe me $1. The Grimy Reaper is
Hi,
here.
Maggie.
Everybody, Hakeem. Thank you. I will read these. I should probably star someone. Yeah, I'm gonna star you.
Do some starring.
I did some starring. All right.
I'll work on some starring too. But Tuvok wasn't allowed to be that lifeline for. He wasn't allowed to show that some of Starfleet was all right. He could have been that glimmer of hope that I've been asking for since the first episode. I'd hoped that this was the season's moment from the episode Conspiracy, where Starfleet was infiltrated by sentient parasite aliens, and they had their meeting, and some of them were infiltrated, but some of them weren't. I don't know. They rallied together to go against the alien forces, but we didn't get that because Tuvok here wasn't allowed to be Tuvok.
Well, it wasn't Tuvok.
Right. I should be getting used to the characters not being who they are by now.
Well, and I asked you this earlier. And I agree with you. In terms of the episode Dominion, I don't like it. I think it's boring. I think it drags. I think that it is an exposition dump at episode 7. I think that it is it's a power balance that in episode 8, I think is paid off. But we had this conversation earlier, and I said, I think that you have a predilection to disliking it. The season of
Not that
Picard.
I'm trying to like or dislike it. It's just that every corner it refuses to be Star Trek while expounding upon all of the past Star Trek that it wants to relay to you, to rewrite history and rewrite the characters.
Okay, I didn't catch a minute of that. Can you make that briefer?
Terry's rewriting the past.
You think that how is Terry rewriting the past?
Well, we just spent the whole first 17 minutes on it. Instead of saying Section 31 created the virus, he's got everybody saying that Starfleet created the virus.
Starfleet was aware of the virus.
Only after it was made.
Yes, but they also protected the existence of the virus.
I know, and that was wrong, and I think that the people who were involved with that should have faced some kind of Federation trial. See, that the Federation has a means to address morality issues within itself. They could have had court-martial hearings or just any kind of hearings whatsoever to explain themselves on their lack of morality in certain cases during the war.
Right.
And that's the natural progression. That's where we should have been after the Dominion War, is reaping the consequences of what happens after they lost Paradise. And then after they won the war and they get Paradise back, what terrible things did they have to do in order to save it?
Yeah,
and is it justified? That would have been a great series.
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing right now.
No, they're not.
How not? Like they are dealing with a responsive faction of the Great Link that says that the Federation was responsible for poisoning. You know what? I don't even know how many changelings died with the mutagenic virus.
None of them should have died. They were all there in the Great Link. Odo went to his homeworld. He danced in there in his tuxedo, and he cured everybody. There was no mention of anybody dying.
I understand this.
Terry is rewriting this whole fucking thing.
And I am not against what you're saying. I'm just saying that canon has always been a tricky subject. Ever since Enterprise showed up. Ever since the original series, or since the Next Generation showed up. Remember Captain Tryla Scott? She's from the episode Conspiracy, and she was credited as being the youngest person in Starfleet to become captain. I would like to point out two things just because I'm super woke. Is that she was a woman, or is she identified as such? And she was a captain of color.
That's not woke. That's diversity.
Well, she also did get taken over by those things that, the Gill things. Like
Right.
she
That's
was
why it's not woke, because she was allowed
right.
to be infiltrated and.
Oh, we're just allowed to throw minorities to the wolves, Jill? Is that what you're saying?
It's treating everybody the same.
Well, that is true. That is true. Tragedy strikes everyone at any given moment. So,
Right.
but where was I with that? I don't know. Something about
Please
the
tell me.
conspiracy.
I was waiting.
Yeah, me too.
I thought you
Uh,
were giving me a history lesson about Captain
I was
Scott.
like, again, I'm bouncing all over the place in terms of canon and whether or not is it rewriting canon or is it just updating history? Like, we are talking about a
It's
fictional
rewriting.
world. Okay, so what specifically has been rewritten?
We just explained all of it.
Give me
That's
another
my
one.
main problem. There's lots of them. Oh
All
my
right.
god.
Well, give me another one. I'll give you another one.
Well, we're not up to episode 8 yet. That's what's most fresh in my mind.
Well, what do you want to talk about? Okay, so anyway, so episode 7, here's what happened. So they eventually get caught up to by Vatic in the Shrike. Vatic in the Shrike goes over to the Titan in a shuttlecraft, and then they try and take over the ship. But the crew is ready or something. And Jack and Sydney go on a running goose chase to isolate the changelings. Are they changelings? Let's say
Yes.
yes.
Yes, they are. They don't you wouldn't be incorrect to consider that they're not changelings because they hardly ever actually do any changing into different things. You know how Odo would be a bird or a rock or in this case they would want to be certain parts of the ship to trick people into thinking they're not really there and then
They do in the
magically
Turbolift
change.
ones.
They can't afford it. They can't
But
afford the
no, well,
changing.
fair enough. It's a special effects cost. Anyway, so they run, 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 run. And while that's happening, Jordy is plugging data in or data synth into the computer, and Lore is there. Oh no, Lore bad because he is. And then so there's like a big fight throughout, and Jack takes over Sydney LaForge's mind.
Right, and in the latest episode, we find out that he's essentially a warg from Game of Thrones who could take over any
I don't know
animal
what
or
that
person.
is.
It's okay, in Game of Thrones, there's a child character called Bran Stark who gains the ability to be able to
Fucking wizards.
yeah, he essentially becomes a magical creature who can take over the mind and body of other animals, and it's mostly restricted to animals because their minds are simpler. But at the end, he's able to take over Hodor's mind.
Who's Hodor? Is that the guy who's holding
He's
the
the guy who
door?
has to hold the door. It's one of the last good scenes of Game of Thrones.
I remember that a friend told me about Hodor, and he expected it to blow my mind, and I was like, "Well, that's dumb." So we're not
Well,
friends
yeah,
anymore.
his fate was set. This was his reason for living is to hold that fucking door.
I
It is
do
kind of
not.
stupid.
Yeah, I don't like the Game of Thrones.
No, but it's a good series, and that was a good moment. I
I
cried,
guess
so
I've
it was
never read
good.
the books. I've heard the books are better. But
That
there's
was
no
well
ending.
written. That George R. R. Martin, when he cares, does write some good drama that rips emotion from you, whether you like
So
it or not.
much like this elfling with the powers of crickets, Jack can make Sydney LaForge do things through the power of Cyclops eyes. He gets the red eyes. Do you think that he's a paw wraith?
Yeah, that's something that a lot of people have been saying. That he essentially has the powers of the Paw Wraith, and
Would you know what?
Both Vatic and Troy allude to it pretty strongly.
You know what would be like something that would absolutely
Episode 8.
reverberate. Well, no, yeah, we'll get to episode 8 in a second, and then we'll talk about it. But if at the end of this, you find out that the man that Sisko hated most, the Pa Wraiths, decided to use him to bring balance to the Force. Like, Sisko hates Picard. Picard becomes, like, Picard's son becomes the Pa Wraith Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's lazy writing, but can you imagine if they did that?
That's probably what they're doing.
You think that's what they're going to do? But that means that Sisko has to come back. And I know Avery Brooks
he
would
wouldn't touch this crap with the 10-foot pole, and I'm really
What if
proud
he
of him
does?
for that.
Remember I said before we watched this today, and I was like, I heard O'Brien was going to be in this one.
I'm glad you were wrong about that.
Me too. Well, no, I'm not, because Keiko might have shown up.
Oh, of course.
So episode 8. Okay, so we start off.
No, wait. Are we done? I haven't scrolled through all my notes yet.
Oh well, we haven't even looked at the chat.
Let me see if I have anything. I might not have anything, so let me just.
I think it was an exposition-heavy episode where Vadic ultimately just takes over the ship, and we explore more of Jack's psychic powers.
Right, and Terry revels in the chaos of lore because it's kind of stupid that they keep him connected to the ship. They keep him connected to the ship as they're letting as they're letting the changelings onto the ship.
I'm gonna have to ask for a differentiation here, Jill.
Connected.
No, I don't mean to cut you off, and I'm sorry to make you slow. Please finish your thought. I apologize.
Yes, and then they're surprised when Lord takes over the ship. It's just, they did it to themselves.
Yes. I would make a point of order in terms of these conversations that you and I have, and I think it would be best for everyone. Would you like to have this conversation outside of in-world arguments, or would you like this, like, considering the production?
Would you like to consider the production? I don't mind considering it. Do you know stuff about it?
Well, you bring up Terry more than I do.
It just seems very clear to me when his voice is coming through in the dialogue, when he's speaking to the audience, and when he's actually creating a line that is integral to the story.
Out of all of the writers who have yelled at me since 2017, Terry's is the most comforting yell.
Okay.
Like, do you think anything about Picard in 8 episodes? Do you think any of this is woke?
No, none of it's woke. That doesn't mean it's any good. It's not good Star Trek.
But one of the biggest things that, like, Star Trek fans were sort of butting against, and I'm saying this because Star Trek has been political. It's always been commented on social issues, but it's never rammed it down your fucking throat.
Right. It told you what to think about, not how to. What to think.
Exactly. And, well, it asked you to think about things, and it didn't tell you what to think about them. And that's what I really, really
Taste of Armageddon. Great one.
Turnabout Intruder. There you go.
Okay. Well, I have to go do that. I'll be
back. That sounds like the Goonies are uniting. That's amazing. You have to do that. Anyway, I'll go back. Hey, guys. Lore isn't dead. He's inside his brother. Yes, this is true. Skogly says, I read a book when I was 13 called The Nitpicker's Guide to Star Trek, and it meticulously laid out absolutely everything that was wrong with TNG. It changed my entire outlook on TV. Skogly, who wrote those books? I forget. For some reason, I want to say his first name is Terry. But I had The Nitpicker's Guide to the Original Series, The Nitpicker's Guide to the Next Generation 1 and 2, and I think I got the Deep Space Nine one, but I may have just borrowed it from the library. But yes, I'm very, very familiar with those books. They're fucking awesome. Matt G says, Yill, and others. And I appreciate that. Edge of Time has been rubbing elbows at Daleks and saw Hakeem there, which is delightful. The Grimy Reaper says, I've only seen the Shatner Star Trek. What am I doing here? Hanging out with Star Trek nerds who are going to spoil shit. Sorry about it. Like, some of the stuff we're going to spoil happened as recently as today. Other things we're going to spoil, they may have happened in 1980. So your mileage may vary. Daniel's Hot Topic says, no. Data destroyed lore. On one hand, he told lore by absorbing his memories. Lore became data. Then he said they are one. Then on the other hand, Data said goodbye, brother, meaning lore is gone. Okay. There is a moment which is beautifully portrayed, and Jill will comment on it when she returns, that is an internal battle between Data and lore. And I really like Brent Spiner as an actor. I don't think he's an advocate for Star Trek, but I think he's a good actor. And he has an argument between Data and lore that ultimately brings them together in an instant that I find reminiscent of Agent Smith punching his hand into someone that he's going to take over. And then he absorbed lore from the inside. I think I said this when we were watching it, Jill.
You did.
And so
it was an apt comparison.
Well, I just wanted to visualize it. I don't think I'm special.
Well, the 7th episode, even though it doesn't have that moment of visual storytelling that is better than episode 7, episode 7 does try to say, it tries to justify why Soong put lore into a replicant or whatever the hell Data is.
A golem.
But the reason why the episode tells us that it puts lore into Data is to make him more human for some reason, even though Data was fine all along on his own, I think.
Well, we do address that in episode 8.
And no, but this series has such a simple philosophy.
Yes.
The simple philosophy of you can't have the good without the bad. It's just the episode tries to present it as if this is the enemy within, but
ladies and gentlemen,
always been separate from Data.
I already swore at the beginning of this stream, so monetization is already out of the question. If you'd like to support the channel, please, there are links in the things. From what I understand, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life.
Yeah, but Data has his own bad. You can take off his ethical subroutines, the Asimov subroutines, and there you go. You have bad Data.
Data has killed.
Yeah.
Like, Data's not that
evil. He can have his own. He has his own inner demons. He doesn't need lore for that.
Poor Jenna Desora. Remember that poor girl?
Mm-hmm.
When she wanted to fall in love with like as a rebound. And she was like, I'm hoping. I wanted
No, she
someone.
kept trying to morph him into something he wasn't.
Couldn't do it. And he tried so hard, but he just couldn't. He didn't have the, programming.
He couldn't feel yet. He didn't have his emotion chip at that point.
I really appreciate it.
She was kind of stupid.
Well, I wouldn't say she's stupid. She was a Starfleet officer.
She was a Starfleet officer, but she was like, okay, I could fall in love with. She should have known she could fall in love with Data, but Data could not fall in love with her, and she shouldn't have expected that kind of feelings to be returned where they can't be.
She does actually self-actualize and say, I was with a man who wouldn't express emotion, and I couldn't change him. And I literally, Jenna says, I literally pursued a man who was incapable of emotion. So it was like it's an interesting exploration from both parts. I enjoy that episode. Anyway, I was making light.
I do too. I'd rather talk about that episode.
We can
than
talk about whatever
whether
we
it
want.
was good or
We're
bad.
pretty much doing a Star Trek free for all. It's fine. So anyway, episode 8. We start off and
okay, hold on.
what do
I
you
still have
got?
notes from. I don't know if I have
Keep
anything.
going.
I just want to
keep
make
going.
sure. I just want to make sure there's nothing in my notes because I don't remember what I wrote last week.
Jill, the entire reason I got on the internet was to talk about Star Trek with you and have other people type at me and say that their chats were being ignored.
And of course we don't want to ignore the chat. You can read it. Go for it.
Be more entertaining, chat. No, I'm sorry. Hey, Appion is here. Yay.
Hi, Appion. Yeah.
Hey, hello.
We do have a fun chat.
Daniel's Hot Topic says, yeah, but why would he say goodbye, brother, if he absorbed him? If he is one, he would just say we are now together forever. And for together forever with you. Little Rick Astley. But yeah, when we were watching it, I said, didn't I say like goodbye, brother, or welcome, brother? There was something. It was very limited in terms of I thought the dialogue was rather bad in this episode. Characterization was good.
But Terry wanted to have that moment between Lore and Data, and that's the only reason he's there. Even though it makes no security sense at all to put a psychopath in charge of security at a
Jill, it doesn't take any sense to steal Spock's brain to power a computer of a planet. So
I don't know. Actually, that makes more sense when you're
you're being purposefully adversarial
who has forgotten. What this is a species who they've forgotten. They're kind of like Paclids. They kind of forgotten how to do life.
What do you want?
When their computer doesn't work anymore, they need a new brain to power
from Star Trek.
I just want.
What do you want?
You know what I want. I wanted Tuvok to not be a changeling. I wanted somebody external to the ship to show. There's 150. I don't know how many worlds are in the Federation. I think 150.
Over 150 according to First Contact. I watched it yesterday. By the way, happy First Contact Day.
Yes, happy First Contact Day. But out of all of those worlds and all of the extended allies of the Federation, fucking none of them can help the Titan. It's stupid. I'm sorry. And I just don't buy it. There's got to be somebody. Anyway.
But okay. What? You want to go through the chat, or you have to go
through the chat? No.
Sorry, that was inappropriate, and I shouldn't have said that. Daniel's Hot Topic says, "Boom."
This is weird.
What?
Do I
pooping?
sound like that? Do I sound?
No, you don't know. I don't know. I was hanging out with my nieces the other day, and every time I think it's like, am I being a jerk, or do you have to
No. Preschoolers love the poop jokes. You're good.
Daniel says, oh, and by the way, another thing that doesn't make sense is the third episode of Picard season 3. The Titan shot many torpedoes at the Shrike and nothing happens. But in episode 8, when the Titan fires, the Shrike goes boom.
Did it not have shields up or what? We don't know.
Well, no, I don't think that they would have, because they were in possession of the Titan until...
And they didn't leave any changelings behind to take care of the Shrike. She's just like, everybody come with me.
No, there were some, because remember there was a security alert.
Oh, she had to have kept somebody on the bridge to know how to handle a battle.
John Larroquette. That's a Star Trek 3
So she's not a very good captain on top of everything.
You think? I really enjoyed all of the interactions with Riker and Troy. Deanna and Will are adorable. I think that the actors are incredible together. I think, you know what, Marina Sirtis did such a good job
Yeah,
this
I'm still
episode.
on episode 7, but yeah, no, the actors did a great job on episode 8. Oh,
What
yeah, that was that time in okay, I guess it's not important. Episode 7, Jack hits on Sydney, but it's really creepy instead, and he goes crazy. Like, it's interesting.
Yeah, that
It's
was kind
it's
of fucked.
it's just stupid. It's more Kurtzman mystery box thing, and that's the thing that's been carrying this entire show is this mystery box, and this even episode 8 doesn't answer anything except make you think about the Paul race.
Can't argue. I don't think you're wrong. And that's the weird thing. Like episode 8, seeing the band back together made me so happy.
Mhm.
And it made me forget the last 7 episodes.
Yeah, you can't forget just because you have one good moment, you know. And this episode 8 is mostly filler, emotional character moments getting together, kind of let's
Well, it
say
got me
hi
thinking.
again, let's reconnect and forget about the last 7 episodes of terribleness because you get to see
The last 7 episodes
Riker
have
and
not been
Troy
terrible. The
talk
last 7
about
episodes. You
moving
liked
to the
the space
city.
babies.
I love the
Space
Farpoint
babies.
jellyfish because of what they represent as an opener for Star Trek The Next Generation, and they're much better in that episode because it's a mystery, it's a mysterious alien that is causing it. These space jellyfish are supposed to have powers very similar to what we get from the technology of the replicator. And so that's kind of cool. We don't know what's mysteriously creating these apples and oranges and all of these things, and then we find out it's life. This guy is taking advantage of life, and he's made it into the station.
No,
And
I
so
remember Encounter at
yeah,
Farpoint.
right.
I've seen it.
See, that's the only reason why I like seeing those jellyfish is it's a fucking member berry.
It's not a member berry because it was a
No, its
it
purpose
was a
was
progression over 2 episodes.
it
Again, you have a
its
predilection towards distaste.
its purpose was to cure Riker of his depression.
Thaddeus died.
Yeah. No, that was the purpose. It's all soap opera stuff.
Well, but
And
also, let's not forget, Star Trek is a bit.
well, I'm fine with some drama, but
Well, I'm just
where's my
asking you,
science
who
fiction?
do you like better? Who do you like better banging Worf? Deanna or Jadzia?
Jadzia.
Jadzia for sure. Me too. But don't
Jadzia
when you
is
know an answer that succinctly so quickly,
mhm.
don't tell me that Star Trek is not a soap opera.
Well, Deep Space Nine was more of a soap opera than any other one, absolutely, no doubt. But it had
Deep Space
more
Nine
of
was
a
one of the best shows for
grounding.
character development in the
Yes,
history
it
of
is.
television.
It had more of a grounding in what it wanted to be, and the Starfleet officers were still essentially good. Like they did have darkness, but you still had Admiral Ross.
Admiral Ross is awesome.
Yes. Exactly. So you still had hope even in the darkness on Deep Space Nine, which
I
you don't have here.
I would
It's
like to thank
missing.
everybody who's chatting. I'm not keeping up. Me and Jill are talking. Sorry. Uh,
Yeah, Canadian Spider-Man is here.
what? When? When did that happen? That's awesome. Hey, Spidey.
He heard you talking about the Goonies.
Fuck the Goonies. Sorry.
He said, "Hey, you guys."
Fair enough. Good answer. And Scogli says Spidey. And Hakeem says B4 is in him too, but nobody cares about B4. Hashtag justice for B4. You know what? And Hakeem, like the first thing they said was that it was programming that included data, lore, B4, lol. And they said it the first time, but Data's never said lol. Like, they gave one bit of. There are two people that I think deserve the most credit in terms of Data's development. One of them, no, in terms of the character himself in the development of Data, it's Tasha Yar and Lal. Like,
and Bruce Maddox, even though it was a negative thing, but it ended up positive.
Bruce Maddox is the biggest problem that I have. No, I have many problems with
I
Star
have
Trek
lots of
Picard
problems with him too.
seasons 1, but my biggest one is that I wish that Brian Brophy had played Maddox again. Like, it wasn't the same actor, and I was very disappointed. Same with Icheb. Icheb wasn't the same actor.
He wanted the drummer from Scott Pilgrim to kill him instead. The real Bruce Maddox.
Yeah. Well, I like Alison Pill. I think she's a great actress.
I like her in Scott Pilgrim.
I like her in what's the hockey movie? She's in a hockey movie that I like. I like her in The Newsroom. I like Alison Pill in Snowpiercer. Oh, what is it called? Goon. She was good in. And yeah, I think she's a great actress. I like Dr. Agnes Girardi, even as a character in Star Trek Picard. I'm sorry, I said it. I meant it.
It's okay. I wasn't listening.
No one else was either. You know, I think I stopped listening. And thank you, Canadian Spider-Man. I could expect only...
I have a lot of notes for this episode that we're never going to get to.
Well, keep reading them. Tell me more. I want to talk about them.
Well, I'm skipping through the things we already said. I
will answer every one of your questions. So everyone. What is it like hanging out with someone who knows more about Star Trek than you do?
It's an honor and a privilege that I cherish.
That is the incorrect answer, Captain. What you're supposed to say is, I'll tell you when I do. I don't know more about Star Trek than you do. I would never want to compare. I was making a bad joke, and I apologize.
Well, I didn't know how to respond to it, so I responded as if it were fact.
Well,
no, this Vadic lies about the Federation, Star Trek, and everything. Starfleet's villains, and right. And not only did she do that, not only did Section 31 torture the changelings with experiments that would make Dr. Mora cry. They apparently figured out how to inject changelings somehow, and how you inject goo, I don't know, but I guess they made them different because they have organs now. I don't know, but how Section 31 planned to use the changelings as weapons, or how they planned on being able to control them, makes no sense. It's totally stupid. And so, and then she takes the form of her torturer, just like Odo took the form of Dr. Mora. So it's a perversion of that. But when Dr. Mora hurt Odo, he didn't realize Odo was a sentient being yet at that moment. And finding this out changed his outlook on how to treat him. And he was more of a father for Odo. But this whole thing, this is a gross perversion.
Well, James Sloyan was an incredible actor. And that was like 2 incredible episodes, right? He was only on 2 episodes of DS9, right?
Yeah, in both moments he was impactful. I was glued to I'm glued to the screen anytime there's a
James Sloyan. Well, James Sloyan, like as Admiral Jarok or as Alexander, like, he is such a dynamic actor in Star Trek. I've seen him in other things, and I don't think that they take advantage to his talents. But in Star Trek, he is so good. And when he was Dr. Mora, it was, I don't know, it was a benevolent cruelty, if you will. Like, the way that he performed it, and he's like, don't you understand that I had to be cruel to be kind? in the right measure.
It was really the only way he could understand how to interact with Odo.
He
And
didn't even
so
know
he
how
did.
to make Odo communicate or move, and he had
Right.
to do things that he's not proud of. But
Right.
how
He
did
wasn't proud
he
of it.
make
Of course.
Odo responsive? I had to poke you. Sorry. We didn't know what you were.
There was some voltages.
Oh, and you know what? I bet he feels bad about the voltages.
I'm sure he does. And of course, it was a lot more gentle when Odo was dealing with his own baby that he got for the episode that didn't make it.
Yes. Well,
But
and
that,
ultimately gave him back his changeling abilities.
yeah. So that was a clever way to give him back what he should be. So I was
Well, it
happy with
was
that
really,
episode.
but it was kind of a redemption for Dr. Mora at the same time as well. And also, it was a way for Dr. Mora and Odo to see. And this is where I understand your frustration, is that anything to do with the scientific method of discovering changelings in Federation space or beyond
Yes. In this case, beyond.
is done with empathy and hope and a seeking of knowledge. And even when bad things are done, it's not like they were done carelessly.
Yeah, well, there was no malice in it, in Dr. Mora, even though he wasn't a Starfleet or Federation or anything.
Yeah, Bajoran scientist.
It's still one of my favorite things when someone who's done something that was wrong, they admit to it and they try to do better, and they show you they present that in action, and he did that.
And I think that I can agree with you 100,000 billion Google plexes per second that yeah, no, this Star Trek is, in terms of the world that exists, it does not have that hope. That is not just a prerequisite. It's not a couch that everyone sits on. And what I liked about old Star Trek, and what I still do like about old Star Trek, is that don't worry, wherever you sit, it's going to be comfortable.
Yes.
Like, we're not mad at you. We're not doing anything to fuck with you.
Unless you go on Empok Nor, that was a nightmare.
Well, Empok Nor was a Cardassian installation. Don't get mad at me for the bloody Cardies.
Edge of Time says, I gotta go soon, or I'll turn into a pumpkin.
Well, good luck with that. Don't turn into an Easter egg. Someone will blow you.
That's...
Is that how that works?
Before you fill the egg with confetti.
Yes. I will agree, I guess.
But there was another thing in episode 7 that I want to get through.
Yeah.
So this terrible thing that Terry is accusing the Federation of doing, of kidnapping the changelings and experimenting on them, was called Project Proteus. And in Greek mythology, he was a prophetic man of the sea. So he knew all things, the past, present, and the future. So it could be that this is even worse than making Starfleet or the Federation bad. And only worse because we already know that the Paul Wraith could be it. I think Terry's explanation for why Starfleet is bad, why the Federation is bad, is because the Paul Wraith influenced Section 31 to make them bad and do all these terrible experiments and torture.
Well, that sounds like a load of hogwash.
I know.
I don't think that happened.
I don't think that happened either. It's just a guess. It's
a bad guess.
I'm trying to
make it worse. You're trying to make it worse.
Well, yeah,
you want the Paul Race to influence Section 31. You're making bad fan fiction worse.
But this show is already fan fiction, and we know that the Paul Race are stuck in the fire cave.
You have a predilection to make it worse. You don't want to like it, Jill.
I don't like it.
And no, you decided before you even smelled the baking bread.
I know that the idea that I'm saying is super dumb, but that's what I've come to expect from this series.
No, but your argument about how it's good or bad, like what you should be saying is it should be smarter than the show. You have to explain why the show
Well,
is
no,
bad.
I'm showing what I think the show is trying to say using Greek, that Greek
No, I
name.
understand that. I get it, and I think that well, and it seems fine.
Because also, Proteus was also a shapeshifter.
So it actually is relevant, both thematically and specifically.
Yeah.
So that's a horrible thing that they got their Greek mythological references correct. So what was the problem?
That it could be stupid and it
But
could
you
be
just proved that it
an
wasn't
indication. No, it could
stupid.
be no, I know, but it could be an indication that the power wraith are why
I don't think
1731 was so bad. No,
so.
I don't think
Greek
so either.
mythology
I
is
hope I'm
present,
wrong.
and therefore,
I hope I'm wrong. Okay?
well,
I'm hoping I'm wrong on this one. It's just something that crossed my mind.
all right.
I apologize.
I'm not going to knock it down
You just
until
did.
I do. I did do that. Yes, that's true. I'm sorry.
Okay, now I'm ready for the new episode. Now that
For episode 8, I didn't make any slides. We're still
but
just talking.
the problem is that no, I know you didn't make slides. It doesn't matter. The problem is that this episode supports the evidence of power race too. So,
well, and again, that's what I think. If the paw wraiths, like, remember that time that Keiko and Jake got taken over by paw wraiths?
mm-hmm.
That was weird. It was really strange. Didn't make any sense. Like, it was just they took over the bodies. Who did? The paw wraiths. What are they? Aliens?
You know, that was the only episode where Keiko actually was thoughtful. She threw a party for O'Brien. She did all sorts of nice, lovely things that a wife should do. And it wasn't Keiko. It was a paw wraith. That was funny.
You know, sometimes I wish that defending Keiko O'Brien was not a full-time job. And it's not my job. It's Miles's.
Yeah, Miles loves her anyway, so I do buy that notion that despite the facts, he loves her.
If Miles and Keiko invited me over to their quarters, I would bring a bottle of wine and Keiko would put up with me until Miles kicked me out. So everyone is friendly, but they don't like me. But I like them. I like Keiko and Miles.
As long as you like replicator food, you'll be okay.
Well, you know what? I really prefer it when Miles cooks.
Does he cook real food?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's one of the first things you get to see with Miles and Keiko. And she's like, what? Like, Miles is talking about how his grandmother used to make like sausage and eggs or whatever, and the real meat that he used. And Keiko was like, she didn't use a replicator. And Miles was like, oh no. Miles and Keiko have one of the most successful relationships in all of Star Trek, and people who poo-poo it just don't like love. They should not celebrate Valentine's Day.
I disagree. She constantly pushes him aside for other things, other more important things to her than his affections.
And he what? Well, come on. Oh no! You know what, Jill? You know what I just realized because I remembered it just now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kira carried Miles and Keiko's baby.
That's right.
Do you ever think that they, like, you know?
He rubbed her feet a lot. I don't know what that means in a wholesome series.
It means he's a Quentin Tarantino fan.
He really wanted to be there during the birth.
O'Brien and Keiko. Miles and Keiko have the weirdest relationship in the history of sex.
Yeah.
It's kind of wow.
Well, I'm sure it gets really weird for surrogate parents too.
Like, do you think they beamed the fetus in? I don't remember the episode. I didn't see it because she was dating Shakar, and I hate Shakar.
No, She had the baby natural.
No, I know she did that because it takes like 36 hours for a Bajoran to have babies.
But no pain.
Right, but I never saw the episode where they actually made the decision to, implant or transfer.
Oh, was the transfer
Like the first time when it was like,
okay.
"You want our baby in your
Oh,
body?"
yeah. I
I
forget
never saw
about the
that one.
details. Does anybody remember
I
yeah.
don't.
No,
And
I
if you
thought
do know the episode, I would love to see it. So just I will write it down.
yes, please.
Tweet me.
Thank you. Tweet us. We forget
We want to
the
see that
details about
episode where fetuses were beamed into Kira.
I think Canadian Spider-Man has said, yeah, they did. Nana Visitor and Comedy. So,
Oh yeah,
which
totes.
episode was that? I don't know.
I don't
I
remember.
want to remember too.
All right.
But Canadian Spider-Man also says, I like Japanese women, but not Keiko.
Well, she was Korean in MASH.
Men can cook well. We just covered this on Manorama. Of course they can.
How is
Cisco
Steve
was
doing?
vegan.
Steve likes me, and so I like Steve.
Yeah. Hooray for Steve.
Yeah,
Rancor Steve.
for sure. Rancor Steve. Go check out the Manorama.
Mhm.
I've never seen the Manorama. What do they talk about?
I don't know. We're usually talking about Quantum Leap at the same time. I need to check out an episode.
Is it like mostly about mans and ramas?
Yeah, I think it is about becoming stronger in your male self and learning about man stuff. I think they did tools last time, cooking this time, all sorts of things like that.
Do you have any idea how many Cardassian voles I had to kill myself? Like in my particular space station, I had to kill like 4 of them.
So why didn't you just transport them out of there?
Well, the transporters were down because of the isolinear rods. We're getting new isolinear rods on Tuesday.
It's always Tuesday.
Well, that's when deliveries happen, Commander. What do you want me to do about it? I'm going to
Go
Quark.
kill some bulls.
Kill some voles. All right, back to the vole efforts. Anyway, thank you for being here, everybody. Me and Jill are going to make Star Trek puns until we giggle to death.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but then, okay, so Vatic is in control of the Shrike. And Data
Right.
is...
Oh, right. And she's imitating Khan. She's threatening violence
Yeah.
with the environmental controls in a very similar fashion.
Oh, wait, before we move on to this, I want to say this again, and I know I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, because I think that it is super fucking important.
What's important?
The use of the First Contact overture in Star Trek Picard is unwarranted, unnecessary, and inappropriate. I don't like it. And most of the musical cues are unoriginal. That doesn't mean that they aren't referencing something. Well, if they're referencing something, then they're unoriginal.
I agree. They're not even celebrating First Contact Day. It's like some frontier day. So it's not even.
Well, we've talked about this, haven't we? I thought we did.
Probably. I don't remember.
How they used up First Contact Day in season 1 of Picard.
What was that season 1? I don't remember.
That's when the attack of the synths.
Oh, great.
Yes. There was much. They blew up the
the Mars station.
Yeah, the Mars shipyards. Utopia Planitia, I think. So that was bad. But they used that up, and so now they have to come up with a new fucking day to have a big 9/11 day. Demonetized.
Yes, they do have a lot of inappropriate use of the music.
Including just irresponsible references.
Yeah. But in addition to the environmental controls, she does make one reference that kind of reminded me of the animated series. Because she said she could make the ship messy with snow. And that reminds me of when reminds me of the Practical Joker. when the ship's computer put the crew that were stuck in the holodeck into a snowstorm.
Yeah. I liked it better when they did it on the big goodbye in the holodeck.
And Wesley chucked snowballs at Picard.
That was a good one too. Wasn't Scott Grimes in that one?
Scott Grimes from the Orville.
Yeah.
I think it was a deleted scene, so I
Oh.
don't recall precisely where in the script it was because I'm not that deep.
Well,
yeah, probably.
you know, I am leaning to buying this season on Blu-ray.
The Orville?
No, Picard season 3.
That is your choice.
I
Your
know.
money.
I'm going to give them money. Do you want to cut my throat?
No, I'm mad at the show, not you.
Fair enough. But
You
like,
can do what you want.
I
You can
will.
be, yeah,
I always do.
you can like bad Star Trek if you like. And I
I
still like
do.
you.
Hey,
I just
you like
I just don't
Nemesis.
I don't like it. I accept it as real Star Trek, but I
That's
just don't
fucking
like it.
horseshit, and you know it. If you search your soul, you will find it to be
It doesn't
false.
look, it's stupid, but it doesn't make Starfleet evil.
It makes Romulans dumb.
Yeah, so does Star Trek Picard season 1.
No, I'm just saying they did it worse before. Like, they already did it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
they already made the world stupid.
I guess so. But you know, you can buy what you want. It's not real Star Trek, but you can buy it if you like it.
Well, neither is
It's
Star
up to
Trek
you.
Nemesis. Really.
It's up to you what you do with your money.
I hate Star Trek
I'll think
Nemesis.
you have bad taste, but I won't dislike you.
No, I know, and that's why I'm thankful that we're friends.
Yeah.
I also think that you have terrible taste, and I don't understand why I still like you.
Right. I love Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna talk
What
about
the
it soon.
fuck is that about?
I'm so excited to be reading Return of the King for the first time because I always read 1 and 2, 1
I
and
didn't
2,
know
and I'm
you
like,
could read.
I can't get to the third one because I keep forgetting what happened in the second one, so I keep rereading the second one, and I realize that I've read the second one like 3 times, so I need to just read the third one finally, and it's gonna be great.
Spoilers,
So,
they win.
yeah, but it's part of the journey that is exceptional, not just the fact that they get there.
Oh my stars. That is my favorite card. You wrote for Hallmark. It's all about the journey.
And Hallmark makes some great Star Trek ornaments.
They do make incredible Star Trek ornaments. So anyway.
But episode 8. So Riker and
Of what?
Troy, they discuss his recent fall into depression and how he came out of it thinking of her. And I suppose that the wonder of the Farpoint jellyfish was part of it, but they don't mention them. But none of the they didn't really explore them, but I guess the wonder of them, seeing them, reminds him of his wife.
Whose
And
wife?
it reminds him of Troy because she says she revels in the jellyfish's love for each other. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it pulled him out of that depression. I have no idea. They don't explain it.
No, they do explain it. Actually, it's rather touching in terms of the development of Riker and Troy through Picard season 3. I think they do a really good job.
Mhm.
Is like we established that Thaddeus died for stupid reasons. But when he went
really stupid reasons.
Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So Thaddeus died for really stupid reasons.
Okay.
And Riker has moved out into the galaxy more and more away from his family to disassociate with the loss.
Yes, and he's fallen into this debilitating depression that grew so strong that he stopped loving Troy for a period of time until he saw the jellyfish.
You're being dismissive. Here's how I
I'm
would
not
put it.
trying to make fun of it. It's just a fact of the storytelling. That's exactly what happened.
But it is like the jellyfish are symbolism of rebirth, of something coming out
Sure.
of a terrible situation, which is exactly what the Titan was in. It is exactly what Riker was terrified of. He didn't want to lose the Titan, and he took every cowardly position. We have to go, 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 and we can't.
Yeah,
So
and he did. That's another problem with this series. It's constantly making Riker give up and have.
no, but he doesn't. He didn't give up.
Yeah, because of the jellyfish. Memory of a better episode.
I think that he cooperates with everyone else involved. He even admits his own fault. And in terms of his emotional outburst with Jean-Luc.
Yeah, right. When he said, "We're all gonna die. Let's just give up."
He did say we're all going to die. Let's just give up. And you know who helped him out of that? Jean-Luc Picard.
The jellyfish.
If you just want to poke holes in all of my happiness, then we can.
Okay, fine. Jean-Luc Picard. Which scene did that? I don't.
No. If you wait, you didn't let me finish. If you want to poke holes in all of my happiness, can you wear the black dress? You know, like Section 31.
Well, I have to find it.
Don't worry about
Speaking
it.
of
Short
dresses,
notice. Short notice.
Troy had sex with a changeling, Riker.
No, not true. Didn't happen.
She said she did.
She made a joke. Why do you people always think it's fucking literal?
Okay, so this one was more obviously a joke, but it just seems like this might be true because in the next generation, around a certain midpoint in a betazoid's life, a female betazoid goes through a change, beta Z menopause that Loxana went through, in which her sex drive quadrupled.
Quadrupled?
Yeah, quadrupled.
I didn't want to frighten you.
So, I mean, maybe she was like, okay, I know you're changeling, but whatever.
Holy crap.
I don't know. Why not? This is the filth, so I don't know for sure.
You know what's weird now? I'm like, Deanna Troi has to be about the same age as Loxana was when we saw her last.
That's what I'm wondering.
I bet that Deanna is like, I'm imagining sexual positions that I shouldn't. I usually reserve these sexual positions to B'Elanna Torres because she's
I did bring up
Klingon.
the topic, so
Yeah.
fair enough.
But like, wow. Good for Will. That's
Yeah,
you know,
I
that's
mean,
a fun night.
it's a good thing he refound his love for her, because that'll be good for them.
Hashtag Troy pegs. I don't think Troy pegs though.
But then off camera, Shaw wants 7 of 9 to blow up the turbo lift to stop.
Yeah, blow not blow up, but like blow it out of the turbo shaft. Just there's got to be an escape.
But she didn't because it would have cost lives.
She wasn't willing to kill Shaw.
Yeah, and so that actually is a Star Trek thing in this episode, just like the only nugget of Star Trek in this entire episode, where
there's a lot of Star Trek in this episode.
Because Star Trek is about not tossing lives away out of convenience. So when Shaw says that's not how a Starfleet officer would act, that's exactly how a Starfleet officer should act.
Well, we were talking about this when we were watching Cat's Paw, is that modern Star Trek tends to dismiss life.
Yeah, it's true.
And So yeah, I liked it when Seven was we're not trading lives. I thought it was a bit Captain America in the way that it was. Like, I think the dialogue in this episode was pretty mediocre, but what they were going for in terms of the story that they were trying to tell, if somebody knew how to write dialogue, it would have been a much better episode.
Yeah, no, see, that was the right feel. But her problem is she didn't have a good backup plan. If you're going to avoid using the violent approach, you have to have that other alternative. I want that third alternative, like Captain Kirk says in Operation Annihilate. They know
Well,
that one of the answers could be
I don't believe
major violence in order to save the Federation. But
I don't believe in a no-win scenario. I also
right.
don't like to lose.
Yeah, so Terry had half of the puzzle there. He made the right
Terry.
choice saving life. But Seven should have
Why is
had
it
a
why is
plan
it Terry's responsibility now?
because he took on the mantle of creating
But
Star Trek and he's not done
whenever
it.
you like, it's weird because if you like something in the story, then you jump out of the story and you say, okay, so Terry is manipulating. But if you don't like it, then you jump into the story and say, canonically, this doesn't jive. Which, again, I think you have a predilection to disliking this show. And I I
No, I have
don't know.
predilection for logic and understanding Star Trek and how it should
But
progress.
you shift the goalposts whenever you want. Whenever you want to dislike it more, you switch to the one that is most
I'm
appropriate
just
for
analyzing
disliking.
it the same way I
You're
would
not
any other.
analyzing it. You're attacking it.
I give it the same. I'm not attacking it. I give this is exactly the exact way that I review Star Trek episodes for Deep Space Nine. I don't pull any punches for Deep Space Nine. There are plenty of episodes that I don't like, and there are plenty of episodes that I do like, and I give them both the same kind of criticisms. And there are points where, Cisco doesn't do what a Starfleet officer does. I'm going to completely poison this planet to get what I want to capture
Oh, I love
Edmonton.
that episode.
I know, but
Sometimes it's good to be the bad guy.
uh-huh. Oh, I will call
Come
it out
on.
where I see it. It's not any predilection. It is. I'm fair.
I don't think you are. You know what? If I were to, and please correct me because I think I'm wrong. One of us is the Maquis and one of us is Starfleet. And I don't know who's who.
I'm a fan of Star Trek. I don't put myself in the universe of it.
One of my favorite things about seeing Tuvok in episode 7 was that I watched like 6 episodes of Voyager.
That must have
And
been nice.
it was so nice, Jill. Oh my god. Like it felt so good to
Like
just be comfortable.
right, the science can get a little funny, but Voyager is a good show.
Episodic television. And he was like, "Do you want to watch one? I do. Do you want to watch another one? I do." But there was no responsibility to watch the next one. It was just like, "Do you want to watch another one?" And I was like, yeah."
And you didn't have to, so you
I
wanted
didn't have to. I didn't have to learn where the story was going. He was like, "You want to hang out with these people some more?" And I was like, "For sure."
I want some of Neelix's spicy plomeek soup.
Oh my god, I can't wait to see his feet.
But in episode 8, we also find out that Jack Crusher is a warg from Game of Thrones. I think we mentioned that earlier, but
Oh my
we're
god, I'm so
here to
sick and
find out.
tired. Oh no, I'm not.
No,
No, I
that's
won't.
what
I
it is.
won't.
His magical
Your
powers
Game of
confirmed.
Thrones. Fuck off with your Game of Thrones references. I'm getting a beer. Fuck off. You describe shit in your weird dragon way. I'll be back.
Okay, so Jack Crusher's magical power is confirmed to be that he can take over the mind and body of people. From Game of Thrones, Bran Stark is able to warg or take over the mind and bodies of creatures But near the end of that series, that ability extends to the person Horador, which was one of the last good scenes of the series before everything went to hell. But my daughter needs me. Are you back, Scotty?
I
Anyway,
am. Did Khaleesi win?
No, she got away.
All
I'll
right.
be
Well,
right back.
yeah, no, fair enough. Thank you so much for covering for me while I was, bumbling.
Having a Game of Thrones tantrum.
Well, I just don't like it. I don't like Game of Thrones. I don't like Wizards. I'm trying my best with fantasy. I don't like Lord of the Rings. I liked Legend. And I liked Lady Hawk. I still have not yet watched Excalibur because I had to watch Spartacus, which is so much better than Lord of the Rings, by the way. And yeah, no, there's so much amazing. Like, and I still want to see Dragon Slayer. I got a Blu-ray. I'm gonna see that. Looking forward to that. But no, I prefer you know what? And before Jill gets back, don't tell anybody. So I don't like the pew pew phasers. I don't like the pulse, like bolts. I like a phaser beam, like the classic series or Next Generation or pretty much every Star Trek that existed before 2009. Worf has an actual like Type 2 phaser with a beam. It's amazing. Makes me happy. So one of the things that really bothers me about Star Trek Picard is that in the first like 6 episodes, maybe 4 episodes, they started each with a song and a contemporary song, a 20th century song. And I enjoyed it, but they haven't maintained it. And I wish they would. Just to build some sort of consistency. And I understand when you're introducing people to a story, you want to play a little music, get their toes a tapping so that you're interested. But then you have to season of the witch it. And I wish they would. Appion says, if Picard is a robot, would an EMP kill him? No, I think he's more of a replicant.
Yeah, he has flesh and blood, so
Yeah,
you
he's
can
got
kill him like anybody.
Remember the biomimetic gel that was in the Voyager?
Yeah, that's against the rules to have that stuff.
What are you talking about?
The biomimetic gel, it's against regulation to use
No,
it.
you can't sell it.
Yeah.
You can't. Like, it's a very secretive Starfleet technology. But Voyager's entire computer system was biomimetic gel, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't remember that. That's crazy.
Well, there was an episode where the computer got a flu on Voyager. True story.
That's cute. I like the episode of Deep Space Nine where there's like a virus, but it's just a dog, and Miles makes a doghouse for it.
I like that idea.
It's great. It's good. It's good. Good time. What's not a good time is that in episode 8, the only character who dies, who Vadic decides to kill to show everyone she means business. Happens to be the only character in the entire show that I have admitted actually speaks as if she were in the 25th century. So
yeah.
Goodbye, Tavine.
In the arms of the angel. Amazing grace. How Tavine.
Yeah, Tavine. Good moment.
What, when she died, you like that? It was great.
No, you gave me the good moment because you had the funeral for her that this show will never present us with. What do you think the chances are that there will be a memorial service for everybody who was lost in this conflict?
I don't think there will be, and the only reason I say that is because of the transporter chief, who the no dice.
She's okay.
And Canadian Spider-Man says that I am correct in terms of my hypothetical 24th century
Oh, I
biocomputational.
definitely believe it. You're watching Voyager right now. I haven't seen it in so many years. I am rusty on my Voyager and my Enterprise. I need to watch them both.
Oh, that'll be fun. I hope we
Mhm.
get to do that. That'd be great. I would love to watch Enterprise or Voyager with you.
Yeah, me too.
Hmm. It'd be
But
better than this.
right, it would be better than this because I'll agree with you that the actors themselves they still have great chemistry with each other, despite me
Hmm.
not liking the script. Their performances are not to be trifled with. They're pretty good. Troy and Riker still have wonderful chemistry, but even that's where it ends for me though. Because here the reason why I keep bringing up Riker's depression is because even in this episode he's still fatalistic. He still thinks they're all going to die and that it's over. And luckily he has Troy there to shame him into not giving up.
See, and that's a weird way to describe that because I don't think that there's any shaming going on. And one of the things that I've always enjoyed about Marina Sirtis and Jonathan Frakes is that they do have chemistry.
Feel.
Like, I believe them as people who have been like, I would, if it were like, I know they're not married to each other, but my brain does.
They are married. They got married in Nemesis, which is
They
the
had
song.
to. I know it's the best part of Nemesis, but
Yeah, Data
like
sings the song.
blue skies smiling at me. Anyway, I think that I think that it is an incredible reuniting. And also, when Worf shows up again with the phaser beam, like I really like the fact that
They
there isn't
remember he
a
has a phaser.
well, I do enjoy that he has a phaser after he like when Worf stabbed the guy through the chest. That was a really bad special effect. Like it didn't I was like, "What's going on?"
Well, that's a theme in the series of having Worf murder people from behind. There's no longer face your enemy kind of thing, honor credo or anything. It's just like I get the changeling deserves to die,
No, but
but
killing a
him
man
remember
from behind his back is a bad thing. Yes,
it
I
is
agree
for a
with that.
Klingon.
Especially, yes.
But at least this time he remembers he has a phaser, so I can't. It's like it's only good.
But I do like that they acknowledge the relationship between Worf and Troy. I've always been a fan of that relationship.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's not a thing that people are a fan of.
Well, no, I'm not. I was just letting you expound how much you enjoy it because I think it's a little odd how much Worf is still in love with Deanna, even though their relationship was pretty crappy to me. The best explanation as to why Worf and Troy were ridiculous was that one Star Trek episode that was like the Telltale Heart, but terrible. It was mostly hallucinations of Troy, but from those
Forget
hallucinations,
the
we
name of
found
it, but I know. I
yeah,
know what I have to do.
but we found that Troy's dream version of Worf basically behaved just like a human, and it was pretty awful. I didn't like their pairing, so hearing Worf say how much he loves her, being romantic and stuff with her, rings pretty
Well,
false to me, given his marriage to his true Parmak. But yeah.
but also don't forget that it was hinted at in parallels. In like when he jumped between all of those parallel universes, there
Yeah.
was a universe where Worf and Troy were together.
Well, if you go through all of the different universes, you're
Canon?
always going to you're always going to find one that suits you.
Yeah.
In an alternate universe, yes.
You will do everything in your power to seek out the thing that will displease you most. It is fascinating.
I'm just stating facts. This isn't even a lie. In an alternate universe in Star Trek canon, Worf and Troy marry. Yeah.
How are we
Okay.
even friends? I don't like you at all.
But we still haven't really talked much about. Do you want to
Talk about episode 8?
talk about the episode or how much you don't like me?
Jill, can I see you at camera 2 for just 1 second?
Sure.
I'm a big fan of yours. I didn't mean to imply that I didn't like you at all. I was being sarcastic. And if I was being a little abrasive, I apologize for that.
Okay.
Like, you know, I love you. I've sent you flowers none times, but I'm thinking,
Yeah,
I
don't
should.
do that. Definitely, you shouldn't.
Don't send flowers.
No,
See, that's the
that's a
kind of
bad idea.
relationship we have.
Like, just don't do that.
Yeah, no. See, now, why don't you like me?
Because we can't finish talking about episode 8. Now we're at the part where we're supposed to talk about the Matrix. You talked about it earlier.
I did, in
So,
terms of like the battle between lore and data, because the partition between those two AIs are happening within data, and they need data to do a. They discover that they need some like a calculator that'll do the most amount of calculations in the shortest amount of time, and it took them so long to figure out the data is what they
right,
needed.
because Jordy's daughter could do it in a year, and she figures her dad could do it in a month, and so they
We
need
need
data.
someone faster. That was actually a really good quote. I like that.
Yeah.
Take a look. It's in a book.
I'm sure that was a member
Reading the
berry from somewhere, but I don't know what
rainbow.
episode. But yeah, it was good.
Why is it a member berry? Why
No,
can't it
I'm
just
sure it
be a
was.
comfortable reference?
And no, it could be a comfortable reference. I think they're the same thing sometimes.
Like, spoilers for this episode, like episode 8 is kind of a hammock. I really enjoyed it. It is the best episode of Star Trek I have seen in ever. Like, in a long time. Not in ever, but in a long, long time.
I will say this is the best part of the episode, only because of Brent Spiner's performance.
Yeah, for sure.
And
No
that
argument.
the references within it aren't member berries. I will specifically say they're actually the weapons that Data uses to defeat Lore,
Well,
to
yes.
integrate himself into him. And I use Data and Lord loosely. Data is not Data. Data is dead, but this is Data's consciousness and his personality.
Part of his program has been replicated several times over.
Oh.
Oh no, all your
I need to make
CD
sure
cases.
nobody died. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no, make sure of that. But it's sort of a tour de force between Brent Spiner and Brent Spiner, being data and lore. And there are references to Data's past, his memories, his experiences. And at first we get the Sherlock Holmes. And I was like, oh, that's adorable. Then they bring out the holographic Tasha Yar, and I was so happy until it was really not commented upon. It was just a prop that was held and passed over. Data didn't say anything about his feelings towards Tasha, and all I've ever wanted is on screen for Data to expound about the woman that he lost his virginity to. I don't know why. I find it romantic in a weird way.
Well, how much more romantic can you get for an android with no feelings to carry around a picture that makes no logical sense to carry around?
Well, and this
That
is
is
also
romantic enough for me.
well, this is part of the question. Do you think that I'm being unreasonable in terms like do you think that if there was a Data going off about Tasha that people would be like, would people get pissy about that and be like, why would he bring this up?
I don't know. This is the part where you have my weakness because I love Data. He is my favorite character. And so if you extrapolate this scene from you take it out of this scene
Well,
and
do
put
you
it in a
think that
vacuum,
do you think Tasha Yar
it's
is an
kind of cool.
important person in Data's life?
Yes.
And I have always wanted to see Data's emotional reaction to Tasha Yar. I've never seen that.
No, that's because she decided she was dying
You
working
know
on
how
Star
Data
Trek.
got remember when Data got the disease in the Naked Time or Naked Now or whatever it
Right.
was?
For some
You know
reason
how he
he
got it?
could
He got it from Tasha Yar's pussy.
Yeah. Yeah, somehow. An
Well,
android
he's
can
fully
be
functional.
afflicted by whatever this was. It was
Oh. I don't want to think about this.
Well, we don't have
Data's
to.
Data's ding dong. Do you want to think about Data's ding dong?
I don't know. Does it detach?
That's a good question. I would assume so. Everything else does.
But what really saves the day is the memory of Spot. That's who he professes his love for.
But this
And
is
his
part of the
kitty cat.
problem. But the thing is that I think that Tasha Yar should have gotten more affection than Spot. If this was a show for adults, then Tasha would have got the gold medal. But because this is not a member berry, but like a low class reference, a low class fan service. Like,
Because everyone loves
really?
cats.
Yeah, because everyone loves cats. Exactly. That's the only reason that they're
Except
bringing up
you.
Spot. And Brent Spiner. Brent Spiner notoriously does not like cats.
Specifically Spot. His
Yeah.
worst. He said did he say it was the worst actor he's ever worked with was Spot?
Like if I ever go to a Star Trek convention where Brent Spiner is there, I'm gonna take him a pillowcase, and he's gonna be like, "What is this for?" And I'm gonna be like, "Sign it." So when I drown my next kitten, he will laugh and sign it.
Probably.
Yeah,
He does have a great sense of humor, so he might understand you.
dude was on Night Court. I love Brent Spiner. I
too.
don't think that he's a good Star Trek ambassador. I
No, but
think that
he's
he's a
good.
great actor.
He is a great actor. Why isn't he in anything else?
He's in Independence Day 1 and 2.
Right. He is.
Because he also gets residual checks from the Treks.
That's good.
I hope
He
so.
deserves it.
Yeah. He lives in California. He should be fine. Apparently, it's always sunny.
Felis catus is your taxonomic nomenclature. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that.
No, can you?
I could.
It would be great if you would.
Felis catus is your taxonomic nomenclature, an endothermic quadruped, carnivorous by nature. Your visual, olfactory, and auditory senses contribute to your hunting skills and natural defenses. I find myself intrigued by your subvocal oscillations, a singular development of cat communications that obviates your basic hedonistic predilection for a rhythmic stroking of your fur to demonstrate affection. A tail is quite essential for your acrobatic talents. You would not be so agile if you lacked its counterbalance. And when not being utilized to aid in locomotion, it often serves to illustrate the state of your emotion. Oh, Spot, the complex level of behavior you display connote a fairly well-developed cognitive array. And though you are not sentient, Spot, and do not comprehend, I nonetheless consider you a true and valued friend.
Do we clap now?
No, everybody in that room was so bored by that. Did anybody love it as much as I did? I don't know.
You know what?
Definitely me. Didn't.
I apologize for the coughing. Again. The sons of the prophet were valiant and bold, and quite unaccustomed to fear, but among the more, or so I've been told, was Abdul Abul Amir. I do love lore, and it was good to see him in episode 8.
Well, it is kind of weird though when Lore says the Data can't feel enough to appreciate his friendships. When I just read for you an entire love poem to his cat.
That's an accusation that Lore is making.
Yeah, when most
so Lore doesn't know shit about shit. I've known that since the first season of TNG.
Okay, good. We're agreed then.
Yeah,
and also like
villains are wrong. That's their job.
Right. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, we didn't talk about
Foley says Scotty is a great singer.
Abdul Abul Amir. We never talked about Beverly Crusher's magic womb.
Oh, right. You talk about that. But first, I'm going to read this from Daniel's Hot Topics.
Sure.
He says, many cats played Spot. And you know, Brent Spiner said, may God rest their souls. So sadly, all those Spot cats, actors, are no longer with us. Rest in peace, Spots.
Well, no, it's really funny because what were we watching? And we found out that there was an internet. We were watching. It was from Cat's Paw. And we were wondering about cats in different movies. And there's an internet cat database for cats that are in different movies.
Yes, and we found out that the cat in Cat Spa is going to make a appearance again for the Gary 7.
Yeah, Assignment Earth. You know what? The only reason when we were talking about cats so much, the only reason I didn't say pussy is because Pop Culture Curator was there.
Was he here? I didn't even say hi to him.
Well, no, we were on the thing when we were talking about the cat, and I was like, that's a lot of pussy. And I was just like, no, he's going to get mad.
Right. No, I wish you had. That's kind of funny. Well,
it is funny. It's very funny, but I don't want to make him mad.
But it wasn't.
I was talking about cat.
The word has a different meaning. If you're saying,
I did say pussy cat, and I did hear a couple of spinal.
If you're saying pussy in terms of cats, though, that's not the same word as the vulgar terminology. So you can get away with those kind of jokes.
Great.
On Tuesdays.
And more than likely on Fridays. And only if there's a cat. Can't just be yelling clitoris. Anyway, so yeah.
I kind of have a cough, so you're almost killing me.
No, I'm a heavy smoker, so I'm coughing all the time too. It's fine. It'll be, you know what? Someone's going to make our coughing into ringtones. It'll be the best.
Doubtful.
Hopeful.
Oh, what were we going to say about?
I was going to say what happened next.
What happens next?
In the
episode Worf talks about Picard's body. They see Picard's body on the Shrike.
Yes. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. So anyway,
he talks about how the body is a shell and that soul is taken. Well,
I forgot about this. This is important, and I missed this.
Yeah, and so it reminds you of the Klingon fact that, well, in Klingon religion, when you die, your body's just a shell, and the soul is taken to the afterlife, to Sto-Vo-Kor, or the other place in hell, Klingon hell.
There is no Klingon hell.
Or wait, what is it called?
Klingon
purgatory. It's more like purgatory. Right.
I am the god of the dishonored.
And they're like on a ship or something, right?
There is a barge, yes.
And
I don't
so,
know. I don't know specifically, but I do enjoy Klingon mythology.
oh, I guess Worf's keeping it to himself, but he's like us. He knows Picard is dead and that his soul is gone with it, even as with this replicant, with his memories and his personality.
Mm-hmm.
But the changelings took a part of Picard's brain that was affected by the aromatic syndrome. And I guess they did it, whatever the reason they did it has to do with Jack's super magical fairy dust powers.
What the fuck are those?
He can leap into people's bodies and control their mind and their body.
How?
I don't fucking know. You tell me.
Paul Rafe?
Right. They do that too, don't they? Mm-hmm.
Well, they did it to Jake. They did it to Keiko.
Mm-hmm.
If they do this, if this becomes a Paul Rafe thing, I don't know how I'm going to feel.
It probably will.
Well, you don't know.
I don't know. You're right. It could be stupider. We'll find out next week.
Or it could be really good. Like, how did you feel when you saw the entire crew back together at the same table?
Okay, so we're going to skip to that.
Why not? What do you want? The plot?
No. I'll do that. I just have some notes I have to skip.
Well, no. Go back to the notes.
No, I'll highlight them, so I don't care.
All right. Don't go changing. Try and please me.
Okay, so that's where they misappropriate the Enterprise theme tune because you got the Enterprise crew meeting together on the table.
I got so angry when we were watching it, and it was crazy because they were playing the Next Generation fanfare, and it was not the Enterprise. And there's only one ship that gets not only the motion picture fanfare, but also the Next Generation fanfare, and that's the Enterprise, not the fucking Titan.
Right. If anything, they should have scored something new for the Titan.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I would have loved that.
You would have. I know you would have. And I know I'm supposed to feel all these happy feelings because of that music and because of the Enterprise bridge crew sitting together. But when you actually listen to what they're saying, I don't hear too much significance other than a really cute reunion of characters that these actors used to play.
Why are you watching an episode of Star Trek like it's CSI?
These actors are still capable of being the characters, but
And
the
they
writing
are.
is so trite and uneventful and without meaning, especially with Worf wanting to send heads to everyone. What is that?
That was bad dialogue. That was bad
that's
dialogue.
What I'm saying. It's all bad dialogue.
No, not all of it. Not all of it. The interactions, like I've been for a long time, I've been pretty shitty about Marina Sirtis. And I think that her acting choices, like I could see her acting, but her choices in that acting, I really appreciated because she was very like focused on Beverly when talking about Jack as opposed to being reverential to Jean-Luc. And I think that that was appropriate and good. I really enjoyed when all of them were together. Yes, who got done dirty at that table? Worf, because nobody knows how. Well, you know why? Is because Jadzia is not there.
Well, Paul Wraith killed her. Thanks,
Gul Dukat, you fucking asshole.
I know, he was like stuck somewhere else. I wish he would have just stayed there.
You know, I don't think anybody likes Marco Limo. I've never heard an interview.
He's great.
No, I've heard that he's like, I haven't heard anything about him. I don't think that people like him.
Why not? He did a great job portraying a villain that we could all
Yeah, no, I
Love
understand that. Like,
Picard.
he's a great actor and a great performer, and I think that
Mm.
Marco Limo is fantastic as that Creole gentleman from Time Zero Part One. But
Oh,
I heard he was a bit of a dick.
he was? Was he?
That's what I heard.
I don't know much about that those production notes. I haven't gotten into that too much.
I don't have
But I
anything
mean,
to really back it
if
up.
he's
So,
if he is a jerk, he used it very to good
Marco
effect.
Limo, please get in contact with me. You're more than welcome to
But
join us on our show.
I don't think he was. I don't know. I
Maybe
saw
I
the
should
only
tweet
time I've
Marco
seen
Limo.
the only time
Hey,
I've seen
Marco
him.
Limo, are you an asshole?
Yeah.
And then he'll respond and be like, oi, prick. No,
The
that's
only
what I
time I've
assume he
seen
would say.
him was when I watched the documentary "What We Left Behind."
Was he
Deep Space
there?
Nine. Yeah, he was there, and he didn't seem like a jerk, but that could be editing. He seemed
There
cool.
was a time, like there's an outtake. Uh Avery Brooks like broke Marco Limo's nose.
For real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
So it
it
wasn't
was
just Q he hit.
no, it was remember when they were having the fight on the edge of the fire pits in the last episode.
Mhm.
And yeah, Avery Brooks swung a punch a little too close, and it apparently resulted in the breaking of Marco Limo's nose.
Oh wow. Well, then it was an accident.
Sure. That's what I mean. Like, I don't know if he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite secondary character in all of Star Trek?
Secondary character
Hmm.
in all of Star Trek. That means
Yes.
okay. So I know Spock is my first.
Well, that's not a
Favorite.
secondary character. I'm thinking
No, you
like
mean secondary. Oh, you mean okay, non-bridge crew? How secondary do
yeah.
you have to be?
Like, okay,
Okay.
so here's what I'm
Oh,
thinking. I'm
well, my
thinking
favorite lower decks is Barkley.
oh, okay. Over Ogawa.
Yeah, Barkley.
Wow. Over
I like
Mr.
Barkley.
Leslie, over Mr.
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Barkley is better than all of those people that I just mentioned. What about Rand?
Rand.
Oh, yeah, Janice.
I love Rand. Yeah, she was a goddess. I love her.
Well,
I'm
she's a
sorry.
secondary, not a secretary.
Yeah, okay, she was secondary. See, I don't know the definition all the time of secondary, but that makes sense.
Well, like
Yeah,
I
she's
would
great.
say, I would even say Nurse Chapel is a secondary. O'Brien was a secondary until he got promoted. That's what I love the most about the Q episode of Deep Space Nine, when Miles starts to give Q shit, and Q is like, "Oh, weren't you one of the little people?" And I love that. Just it's part of the reason why I love Miles. Is Q called him a fucking useless. So, can you believe it? I lied to Captain Kirk. I wish Keiko were here. I
Give me
know.
just a moment.
Oh, take 10. Actually, please don't. I need a co-host. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Oh, let's see. Let's start from the bottom and work our way up. Canadian Spider-Man says Captain Sisko will have superpowers at that point. That's why I don't want Sisko to come back. Is because I don't want him to come back as like some kind of god. Star Trek is really great because it's rather agnostic. They say God, but whenever God shows up, Star Trek usually says, "Are you sure?" Are you sure? And Star Trek usually tells them that no, you're not a god. Daniel's Hot Topic says, "Oh my god!" I hope Avery Brooks will be in the end of Picard season 3 at the end, where he returns from Le Celestial Temple. No, I don't want him back. I don't want him back. In fact, I would be upset if he showed up. And the only reason I would be upset if he showed up is because there's been no indication throughout this season that we're going to get Cassidy Yates or Jake Sisko, who I assume are both still alive in Star Trek. And if Sisko comes back to anybody, those are the two that he's going to do for first. So, yeah. If you drop Sisko in the middle of a bridge and ask me to feel feelings, I'm going to be like, look at that. They did that. No. Sorry. You can't bring back Sisko. If you, and especially considering the nature of the season with parents and children. Like, I understand that, and it would tie it up nicely, but it doesn't matter how big the dump truck of money is. Avery Brooks is dignified. He's a man who doesn't need the money anymore, and I wish him the best. I would love to see him in a Starfleet uniform again, but not for the people who would pay him to do it. Scogli says, that would be wild, says Scogli. Daniel's Hot Topic says, if Picard dies completely, the real one is dead, and the synth is the potential clone, and that dies at the end, and Sisko will come back and means Picard is dead. And Sisko. I can't get out of this maze. I don't know what you just said, but you reached out and you touched a brother's heart, and so thank you. I appreciate that very much. I am looking forward to the last 2 episodes of that there Picard, just to see how it all wraps up.
Well, we will see it.
Yeah, you and I.
But next week, though, you're not talking about it. We're not talking about it.
No, not next week. What was your favorite part about this week's episode?
Spot, probably.
It was a nice reverence. I did do this when Spot showed up. I was like, yay. So, yeah.
The Picard fans will have to admit defeat.
Oh, you know what? And this is part of the reason that I didn't do slide.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, no, they showed the remains of Jean-Luc Picard, and like, he had no penis.
Oh, right, he had shorts on.
You sure?
Yeah, he had flesh-colored shorts on.
Okay. Do you think Captain Picard is circumcised?
I don't know. I don't know what they do in the future too.
Neither do I. I don't know either.
But I think that they wouldn't in the future. They don't need to do that. Or maybe they would, unless it's a religion, unless they still have a religion that correlates to it.
Sonic shower. Just a question. Yeah, exactly. The sonic shower will clean up your foreskin just nicely. But yeah. Oh, so what else happens in this episode?
Okay, so what's funny is that for some reason most of the bridge is locked in the ready room, including Shaw, who seems to have been given up on being captain for his bridge. And Not once during the whole episode does he even make a sound regarding the execution of his bridge crew, but Seven does. She cries out for them, but he doesn't. Then he relinquishes the bridge and never once stands up for anybody. And as a finality of that theme, he steps aside again at the very end, while Seven is the one to fight for the chance to remain on the bridge. He acquiesces and goes into the ready room with everybody else. And so is Shaw being written in this carrying manner just so Seven of Nine can be the one to step up for the crew and destroy the Shrike?
You know what? I would say this is my interpretation. I think that Seven is earning her name in the eyes of Shaw and actually being a first officer that inspires her captain. I don't think that this is a character. I think this is character development as opposed to something that you can be accusatory of. I think that we will get the moment where awkwardly Shaw is going to say, "Thank you, Commander Seven." But
right, he called her commander at the end. He didn't say handsome at the end of this episode, so there's a step towards that cheesiness. So yeah, I think you're probably right. That will happen.
Well, it's not cheesiness; it's character development. Between character, like I like Shaw. I like Liam Shaw. I think he's a good character. I enjoy hanging out with him. I think the character and the actor both charismatic, engaging.
Oh yeah, the actor's cool. I think
so.
He's nice.
And I would like to see more interaction between Shaw and Seven. Like I don't see anything wrong with that. I think it's actually rather endearing and engaging. Show's not perfect, but if you
a
look
character
at
who's not perfect is a good thing, but he's not very much in these past few episodes. He was more in the first four.
He's Esteban from Star Trek 3. That's who he is.
And anyway, continuing the episode, Vadic's only reason for existing is to tell us that the Federation is evil. That was the last episode, rotten to the core, even before the changeling infiltration. And now she's here to tell us almost nothing about what Jack really is, except that he can feel voices, which Troy later helps to explain as ancient voices.
Well, when Troy gets onto the Titan, she's like, "Oh my God, there's a Satan baby here."
Yeah, she can feel the darkness, which is fine. She feels emotion, so it's fine that she feels the darkness.
Yes.
So it's definitely looking more and more like the Paw Wraith in terms of that. But really, who knows what the hell's going to happen? I don't know. I'm already kind of bored of this mystery because every single episode they push it and they push it and they push it out.
I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have done this unless you asked.
Well, you told me we were going to watch it anyway. And so if I was going to watch an episode of this and then make notes for it and then have to also watch 2 episodes of Quantum
You
Leap,
made notes?
and then that's how I operate. I can write book reports and present them.
I'm going to send you crayons.
I would enjoy that, but make sure it's 164 count because the 24 doesn't have.
Oh, I'm not going to get you the shitty crayons. I'll get you like a good box.
Right, yeah. Exactly. It has to have the built-in sharpener.
It'll have the sharpener. Yeah, of course.
Great. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it's never going to happen. Anyway. But we don't make anything. If anyone in the chat wants to buy Jill some crayons, apparently it'll make her happy.
Yeah, that's the rest of this episode. The red door that they don't go through.
Well, we get to find out at the beginning of next week, I suppose.
I guess so. Oh yeah, Rappy has a funny battle with the changelings. None of them have.
Yeah, phasers. Totally swords.
Yeah, didn't all the changelings have phasers at one point, or disruptors, or whatever? I don't know what they have.
I don't understand. If you're gonna make the villains changelings, and they rarely change. We have a special effects advantage over 1997 is that shit can move. We don't just have to make into Google butts.
But now they're making those 90s effects look great because at least Odo did change into different things to be clandestine in his efforts.
I don't know.
His investigative work.
You're a clandestine effort.
I love Odo.
So do I. I think he's a good dude.
And then we find out that the bridge of the Titan has the ability to open its windows.
Makes sense.
Does it an evacuation hatch? So has that this? I'm not a ship person, so I don't know if this has been a thing before. But has there ever been another case where the whole entire bridge opens up like an airlock? Because that sounds dangerous.
Well, no, remember? Okay, so at the very beginning of the episode, they showed I commented on it, and I was like, "Oh, every starship has a bridge dome in like a skylight."
Yes. Yes.
And when they were saying that they were gonna blow the emergency hatch, I thought it was gonna be the dome because I thought it was like foreshadowing or something. No, not that clever. They just decided to slide open the view screen.
That would have been harder for me to criticize because that goes back to TOS.
First episode.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they just have a window.
Yeah, it's just a window. Hey, guys, open the window. We gotta eradicate some aliens. But
hey, man, can you press that button for me? Not that button. Not that button.
And also, Jack has a random force field grenade that we don't know where it came from.
I thought that was a nice turnaround because, like, when he showed up, I was like, he's holding a thermal detonator. And then it became a force field. I thought that was cool.
It looked cool. I'll give you that.
Well, and it was protection, and it wasn't aggressive. Like, it was... I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as... I enjoy things.
You do enjoy things. Actually, Canadian Spider-Man enjoys things too. He says, I used to listen to late night talk radio in the 80s and 90s that sounded a lot like you two. Thanks for the bedside entertainment and company. You're welcome.
Yeah, cheers. That is what we're here for.
And Scogli says, and they just put their blasters away for no reason at all. Right, they had blasters. Thank you, Scogli. No, there hasn't, but I'm open to the idea. Well, I would think that if they did have an escape hatch, it would be in the ready room, like a smaller escape hatch.
But well, not an escape hatch, but if you wanted to blow the bridge, like the atmosphere in the bridge, like the dome is where to go.
And then Vadic is a changeling, right? So being frozen in space shouldn't be a big deal. Even when she shatters as a changeling, wouldn't she just turn back into her liquid form and then she could merge herself back together? But I don't know. I don't think
I will be very upset if she's still alive.
Well, I think you're going to be okay. I don't think that this episode thought about that. I think we're supposed to think she's dead.
The way you talk about this, you sit on like a pile of superiority.
Well, she's provided almost nothing except for good acting. Her contribution as a villain is one-dimensional. But I love Data and Geordi.
She's been a one-dimensional villain, yes. And... well, no, I wouldn't even say she's a one-dimensional villain because her motivations have been presented in her torture. She has personally been tortured by Starfleet medical. And yeah. So no, I think that Vadic is a justified villain, but she dead. Because she gets blown out into space, freezes, and then is like hit by a spaceship that is subsequently blown up. So I think Vadic is dead.
Yeah, she's dead. I'll agree. But I do believe you were trying to talk about real Star Trek earlier. I think I got a little distracted by external forces.
Yeah, it's cool. I know. It's fine. Here. Would you care to share an umbrella?
Yeah. Do you hear that thunder?
The way you love me is frightening. Let's knock on wood. Well, I don't know. Is there any chat? I would like to go pee.
Well, I can read the chat for you while you do that. I can read some stuff.
You're the
I'm
best.
sure there's something. Yeah.
Okay. Don't
Don't
say
what?
anything rude.
You mean don't talk like you?
Yes. Don't do
Okay.
anything I would do.
Great. Scogli says Deep Space Nine established that they can live in the vacuum of space. I'm quite certain that Dr. Mora found Dodo just drifting in space. I think somebody would have to collect the pieces. Yeah, Scogli, I think that would be the case. That's all. So, why wouldn't the changelings that were left there's got to be survivors of the strike because we know that the Titan isn't changeling free yet. There's going to be a few people still on the Titan who are changelings. So who's to say some of them can't escape and collect those pieces? That is a possibility. Because yes, changelings can survive the vacuum of space because 100 baby changelings were sent out by the founders to explore the universe. That was their method. Since they were xenophobic, that was their method of learning and exploring about what's out there. Scogli says, but they also blew up the Shrike. That was right beside her, so right. So they destroyed the ship with Picard's original body. Don't worry about any kind of funeral service now. His body's been blown to smithereens. True. At no point does he try to negotiate at all. That is kind of bizarre. I agree. Hey, welcome back, Scotty.
What did I miss?
Nothing. I just talked about Odo drifting around as a baby changeling in space.
Well, and that's also something because I figured when Vadic got blown out of the bridge of the Titan, I was like, it doesn't matter.
Right. No, it was just like, was it season 1 or season 2 of Picard? Where they spaced all those Borg. Borg can survive in space just for a time.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, they're okay. They're okay. They're spaced, but they're Borg. They're gonna be okay. No, that I was supposed to believe they were all dead. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Kurtzman Trek remains Kurtzman Trek.
Like, what if Star Trek is actually over? What if the 734 Club is all that exists?
735. You can't.
No, I will cut a bitch who tries to defend Nemesis.
Well, I'm part of the 735 club. Please don't cut me.
Fine.
But yeah, no, this could be it. That could be all we have. Everything from 1964 to 2005.
It's a pile of riches.
It is. It's a lot. We got a lot of great Star Trek. 735 iterations in
books, video games.
Right? And that is the treasure of Star Trek that I've yet to experience a lot of, the video games and the books. And so
once you finish the longest journey, we can do something about that.
We could, but I would be afraid about the copyright ramifications of that. So hopefully
We'll do it on Rumble.
Oh wait, actually I have a secondary channel and we could do it on that I don't care about.
Okay. Great.
So we could do it
Huzzah.
there.
Woo.
As long as it's
What?
a copyright claim and not a strike. Well, we can keep going. Oh, Captain Foley. I'm glad somebody listens to Captain Foley.
I like Captain Foley.
I like him too. I just don't get a chance. Captain Foley said that since the changelings were mutated and are different from the DS9 changelings, then Baddock died in space and can't be alive like Odo was in space. And so, yeah, that's the excuse, because that's exactly the excuse that Terry uses for everything. Everything is different because I'm rewriting the character. I'm rewriting
No way.
There's been 20 years. So,
hey.
And so the Federation was bad and they made DNA changes to the changelings, so now they can't die in space because they got organs now, and they couldn't replicate organs before.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
Part of the evolution, the forced evolution that has been presented within the show, is that they can maintain their shapes longer. Sometimes that's not necessarily by choice. So if they find themselves exposed to the vacuum of space, then like it would affect you the same way as it would a solid. They don't have the freedom to change.
They can't change back to their liquid form by
That's what I'm asking.
like Odo can.
Right. Well, and also, you know what was weird? And I thought about this while we were watching it. If these changelings, like part of their discipline is that they hold together longer than regular changelings, right?
Sure.
Remember a couple of episodes ago when we were looking for their pot?
Yes, they were looking for the bucket.
There was no reason to look for that if that is
Odo's
what.
bucket.
Yeah, they did find exactly Odo's bucket. Yes.
Right. So what is Odo had to change every 17 hours or something? I forget how many hours.
Wait, I wanted to ask you a question. Did I already ask you about the Lost in Space?
No, ask me about Lost in Space. What do you want?
Yeah, you've been watching Lost in Space recently.
I have only seen the first 3 episodes, so any opinions that you judge me on are based only on the first 3 episodes, which were written by, I forget his real name, but when he wrote Star Trek episodes, he went by S. Bar David.
Oh, nice. And how have you been enjoying S. Bar David?
I really like S. Bar David. He wrote Star Trek, and so he really there's a definite campiness, of course, in Lost in Space, but it doesn't forget that it's science fiction, and it's really genuine in the fantasy elements that they insert into the science fiction.
Can you,
it's a lot of fun.
Can you, with a straight face,
and it's got a good
say that Lost in Space is a science fiction show, or do you think it's a science fantasy comedy?
It's a science fantasy comedy, if I have to put a point to it, with some science fiction elements, including how they integrate the use of the robot. And the exploration of artificial intelligence is really advanced from a perspective of the 60s, because this robot seems to have a similar intelligence to the artificial intelligence that we're only creating now. So I think that's pretty cool of it, retrospectively, from someone who's never watched this show.
I still have no interest in watching Lost in Space, but
I'm not telling you to watch this.
No, and I know even if I were to watch it, I think it would make people mad. So, but you're doing reviews of it.
Yeah, I am. I'm having a lot of fun reviewing it on Pop Culture Curious channel.
Yeah, and it sounds like I've been there a couple times. I've seen it's a really good review. Like when it comes to like production of television before 1980, Pop Culture's knowledge is incredible.
Yeah, he does great. He
He's
does great with that.
amazing at it. Yeah. Like from actors to musicians to set to stuntmen.
Yeah, he's really getting into the science fiction genre too in his Tuesday movie shows, so that's pretty fun.
If you do have an opportunity to subscribe to Pop Culture Curator, I highly recommend it.
Me too. Also subscribe to Captain Finity. He's also
No,
pretty
no,
super. No? You
no,
don't? Okay.
no. Fuck him.
Well,
I
I
mean,
did,
wait,
and then
hang
he
on.
ran away.
He's gonna get mad if I say fuck him, and we
No,
have
he's
to.
already mad. I'm already banned on Twitter for timing him out.
Well,
Because
Pop Culture Curator banned me.
He was spamming the chat. So
Well,
I had to time him out, and now
he does that. He does that.
Yeah.
When do we go live?
But I do
Anyway,
enjoy listening to him and talking to him.
I think he's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he has really great ideas.
He has been one of my worst enemies and also one of my best friends. So I don't know. He's a Klingon.
Yeah, I know. That's why I took responsibility for what I did in the comment section, which is the only way I can communicate with them right now.
Like if you were to identify Jill as a Star Trek alien, which one would you identify as?
Possibly an Andorian.
Why? That's interesting. I thought you would have gone straight to Vulcan.
Well, I have too many emotions that compel me to be Vulcan. I relate most with Vulcans and with androids in general in my basic life, but that's because that's something I aspire towards, but that I don't actually achieve. And so I admire them for something that I can't reach. But I also relate with them socially because I'm kind of socially awkward, and so are they. But my passions kind of lead me toward being Andorian, I think. And except for the cold part, I don't like being in the cold. So maybe I need a different alien species. I have to think about it.
I don't know. I've never seen you all blued up.
Yeah.
Well, and I found out earlier today, and I think I'm overcompensating. I found out earlier today that I'm really racist against Bajorans.
Oh, right. You kept saying, kill the Bajoran, kill the Bajoran.
If you got to kill anybody, kill the Bajoran. And I was like, wow, I'm very Cardassian.
You're really excited about that.
When they killed Tavine, I was like, no, there was a Bajoran right there.
No, science officer.
Actually, helmsman.
No, Tavine was science officer.
Yes, but Masura, the Bajoran.
Oh, the Bajoran, you wanted them to murder.
I wanted him, I wanted him to, what's the word? Die.
Yeah.
Tavine, I love Tavine. Tavine was great. Mm-hmm. And that girl who was crying, they should have shot her. There's
Esper,
no crying in
Starfleet. The communications officer, was she the one crying? The one with the weird thing on her
I
head?
thought she was a tactical officer.
Oh.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't either. I think my last note for this was about Troy's powers. So, of course, the show Bible for The Next Generation confirms that Troy can only read the emotions. So that scene with her, Troy and Jack, doesn't work because she's not a full telepath. There's no
but he can control minds.
Okay, so
like you have to give a little bit of credence to his telepathic powers.
Okay, so Jack was pulling her into his mind. But
no, they were sharing.
Okay. She can't do mind melts. She's not Vulcan. She can only read emotions.
I just told you why you're wrong.
Okay, but I'll tell you why you're wrong. Is
Okay.
because Riker doesn't have any telepathy, and yet she dug into his mind to put a mental band-aid on his pain. She does not have the telepathic nature to be able to do stuff like that.
Part of the reason why Troy and Riker are Imzadi is that when they had their tryst on Beta Z so long ago, that was when they actually developed their bond, their telepathic bond. So, no, that's part of the reason why there's like a telepathic communication in the first episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
But they pretty quickly forget about it, though.
It shows up whenever it's convenient.
Yeah.
But doesn't everything...
But she's not a full telepath, so she shouldn't be able to do a mind meld.
But again, we've seen Jack like take over Sydney's like body. So he's obviously he's got some telepathy.
He does. So he's pulled her into him. That I didn't consider because...
Hey, I'm Jack Crusher. My mom is Beverly. Beverly says talk to Troy. She's an empath. She's half human. She's half betazoid. She's gonna get into your head. Can you please, or do you want to fix this? I'm Jack, and I say yes. I would like to fix this. So Beverly says, okay. So you just hold her hands. Figure it
out. I like Daniel's Hot Topics is judging Data. The deepest circles of hell are reserved for betrayers, mutineers, and murderers. So Data is going to hell, or Greta or Klingon hell, which is far worse. So is everybody else in Kurtzman Trek.
Oh, but that you and your blanket statements. Come on. This is such a fun episode.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed something. If there's anything good about it, you enjoyed it.
I just built a fire and you came over, squatted over it, and peed.
Well, that's not a very efficient way to put out the fire. I would actually get a hose and hook it up to the nearest fire hydrant, or call the fire department. Oh, for Makes you, sense. They're called the fire brigade.
Well, no, I don't live in the 1800s.
No. That's what Spidey calls them.
The fire brigade? Well, Spidey's in Mexico.
No, but he lived in Canada for a while. And he said, don't call the Mounties. Call the fire brigade.
Well, he was on fire at the time, so that makes sense.
He was in the snow.
Yes, anywho. If you'd like to learn more, subscribe to Canadian Spider-Man. He's a good man.
He's a great man, and he gets into all sorts of wonderful adventures. And sometimes he'll post a video about it.
Oh, yeah. So I guess we got like what? How many more episodes? 2?
Yes. And I'm done talking about Picard for today.
We're gonna go to Frontier Day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is that going to be the next episode, or are they going to save that for the last episode?
Well, it's going to be a 2-parter.
Yeah.
So, the first part of next episode is going to be what's behind the red door. That'll thrust us towards Frontier Day, and then dun 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 fire. And then the last episode will hopefully wrap it up in a bow. That's my anticipation.
Or duct tape.
But you do, you do want this show to fail.
I want good Star Trek, and we didn't get it.
What is bad about it?
What did
this Star Trek do bad?
We've had 7 streams in which I've explained all of it. I have,
and you still haven't convinced me. That's the funny part.
Well, yeah. So why am I going to repeat myself when they don't work on you?
Because you haven't provided a convincing argument to me.
Great. Then we disagree, and we will continue to disagree.
Well, no, you
But
failed to
I've said
present an argument.
no. I did. I did present an argument, but
No,
you're
I
not
didn't
taking
accept
it.
it.
You didn't. So why
Because
would
you
I
didn't
rehash?
convince
Why
me.
would I rehash something that you've already disagreed to?
Well, because you're the one who's supposed to be proving innocent.
Am I guilty of something?
Disliking things for sport.
No, I'm not doing that. I would love to see an episode of Star Trek and enjoy it. I'll watch Voyager and I'll realize the science is a little hokey, but it has the spirit of Star Trek so
Hell,
deeply
you'll
ingrained in it,
watch
and it has
Lost in
great.
Space.
Well, that's not Star Trek, so I don't hold it to the same standard that
Fair
I
enough.
do Voyager.
Fair enough.
They all do have a similar premise, but Voyager is better because they're actually trying to get home. So I don't know for how many more episodes Lost in Space is going to keep trying to get to the Alpha Centauri. Like that's their ultimate goal, right? They're not there. Excuse me, I got to step away for a moment.
Why is that? Did you have an Ewok walk in?
Yes.
All right. And I expressed this a little while ago in terms of my interpretation of Star Trek is that I love Star Trek. It really is one of my favorite things. And there are things that I don't like in Star Trek. Scoglie was absolutely glorious when he said Star Trek, the original series, was groundbreaking but cheesy. Next Generation, fine. Deep Space Nine, dark and shit. Voyager, kind of fucking lame. Enterprise, you hated it with the first time you saw it. And all of those shows, I love all of them. All of them. Also, if you know anybody who likes Star Trek Nemesis, tell them that they're stupid and wrong. Just tell them. They'll know. They'll know. I'm not really going to put up much of a fight when it comes to any Kelvin universe. I wish that they would say whether or not the Kurtzman, the televised universe with Academy Award winning Michelle Yeoh, I wish that they would tell me whether or not that's a prime timeline. If you've seen what they did to the Guardian of Forever, fuck that. Did you see what they did to Q? Fuck that.
Did they kill him? I didn't watch.
Yeah, they killed
2.
Q. They did kill Q. Yes.
That's so weird. Isn't he
He
immortal?
died. Not anymore.
No. What about the rest of the Q? The Continuum? Did they hang out? Did they be like?
They really didn't explain it.
We didn't expect this to happen.
No, it was we didn't know who to pay more attention to because Picard's mom hanged herself, and then also Q was dying.
Okay.
So we didn't know who was the most important character who was dying. It was really bad storytelling, and the people who made that season were bad storytellers.
Agreed. Guess who wrote a few episodes of that?
DC Fontana.
Terry Matalas.
So the fuck what?
So that's where he learned his stuff.
Your anticipation of hatred is disheartening.
I don't know. Hey, I I was good for 6 episodes. If you go back and watch 6 of these episodes, I was very generous, and I showed every time that there was something good, and I was
If
trying
I
to
say
be
if I say something dramatically, you say Terry Metalis. And if I say something production wise, you switch over to the rules of the universe. Like, you're not consistent with your argument.
I only call what I see.
That is not an answer to what I just said.
Well, what production notes are you mentioning that I turn into canon?
Do you think that the overall story of Picard season 3 being an exploration of parents and children, like the first episode was called The Next Generation, do you think that this has been an interesting handing of the torch to the next generation from the Next Generation cast?
Interesting. I guess it's been interesting, but it's been kind of false also in
How do you mean
lots of
false?
ways. Well, I realize this is only a subjective opinion. I don't believe that any of the characters that they're even though the actors are great, I don't believe any of the characters they're portraying are the characters that I saw in TNG.
Really?
And I know the excuse is that it's been 20 years, and so Terry's allowed to completely rewrite everybody.
Not completely rewrite. I think that the growth of the Next Generation cast has actually been, I'm okay with it. And if you don't like it, then I can't argue.
I would like to know, I would like to know more about how they've changed, why they've changed over all of this time. When Nog came back from being away from Deep Space Nine for a year, and he came back completely and utterly different, they had a reason. He went to Starfleet Academy. So there's a certain level of realism that you have with Star Trek where you have some things that are explained.
And why is Riker a different person? Why is the relationship between Troy and Riker different? Well, and it's also something that is exactly explained.
Well, in that case, the explanation is season 1 of Picard, in which all cybernetic life was banned. And so he couldn't save his son because he was following the rules, which is something that Riker wouldn't have done to save his own son's life. He would have gone to the planet to do that. But since he didn't, now he is suffering from the remorse and depression caused for that.
Yes.
So there's something, but I don't know. It is all drama though. I realize that you need some drama in a series, but I kind of want some science fiction too. And the most science fiction we get is Data. Yeah, we got the jellyfish.
And Data was a really good science fiction. We got some engineering technobabble when they were installing the cloaking device.
But the changeling science is very loosely explained and not fully developed as something that is comprehensible, because the changelings essentially have the same power that they did before.
I still don't know what you want.
They can still they were able to
I still don't know what you
mimic forms before. I just want something good and fun. You do know what I want. I've told you time and time again.
And I want it for us.
Yeah, you do know what I want, so.
I do.
Yeah. So why are you pretending like you don't?
Well, because conflict makes for good television. So are you going to be watching next week?
Yeah, but we won't talk about it.
No.
Until the following week.
when we do our full wrap up.
Yes.
That'll be the end of series conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I should probably make slides for that one.
Yeah, that's the one good thing. We won't ever see Star Trek Picard series ever again. It's over. Hooray.
You sound like a Herodian. So yeah. So Jill, where can we find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me on my channel at antiderivativejill. For a couple weeks, I accidentally changed my name to Antiderivative Spartacus. So at some point, I'm going to watch and review it. I don't know if I have time tonight to watch this thing.
You son of a bitch! I watched
I'm gonna try
it.
to. I'm gonna
All right.
try. I'm gonna
All right.
try.
I'm
I'm
sorry
gonna
for swearing
try.
at you.
And I know, but you're right. I should have watched it earlier, but I didn't.
Tomorrow is it's supposed to be a Good Friday, I heard. So
yeah, but then I also have to go out tomorrow. But yeah, so my channel, I talk about science fiction, and starting with the Orville and Star Trek. And I also talked about DeForest Kelley was my very first live stream, inspired by a talk with Pop Culture Curator.
Mm-hmm.
And then I talk about movies too, like Forbidden Planet and Free Enterprise.
I've seen both of those.
You were there. You were probably there for both of those reviews.
I was. I remember both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the Star Trek V one.
Yeah, and you know what? Because it's so well written and so fun to watch, I don't mind it. All of the references in Free Enterprise, they're great.
It's really quite fantastic. I think someone asked me, and I said that it was like at least in my top 20, but it could be in my top 10.
Yeah.
I do love it. And also, there's nudity.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part. There was a lady who played she was actually in Deep Space Nine.
Makes sense.
But I forget if she was a Bajoran or a Cardassian. I think a Bajoran.
Well, and it is a well-lamented fact of Scotty R37 lore is that I think that Roxanne Dawson is more attractive with her Klingon head.
You know what? Yeah, I think that makes sense. She is beautiful as a Klingon, half Klingon.
Like, I wouldn't take a second look at her.
That was some of the magic in the 90s Star Trek is even though they did put a lot of prosthetics on people's heads, when they did it for women, they did their best to retain their beauty.
Still good looking. I liked how Lady Cardassians sort of used makeup in their spoon.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah. And I thought it was sexy. Tracy Scoggins in like the Cardassian who was very enamored with O'Brien in the first season. And he was married and very racist.
Yeah, but they had such great chemistry.
And
it's too bad he was married.
I don't even know how to finger bang a Cardassian.
I couldn't help you.